Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today, as part of our Age of Heroes category, I would like to invite you to Herculean Path with Michael Del Russi. Greetings and welcome, Michael. How are you?
Very excited to be here tonight, and I think I have some powerful information that could help many listeners out there. I would like to open up with some reflections if I can,
Of
and
course,
then
that'd
some
be awesome.
detail. Thank you. And then some detail and analysis of some nutrients, and I call them universal nutrients for a good reason. First, let me say that we are not physicians, we are researchers, and we do our best to bring some of the most uh, promising information to the listeners, and they can make their own judgments. So let me start by saying I believe we exist in an indwelling universe, and the indwelling gods are part of our Olympian path. Recognizing that reality opens up the door to other realities and paves the way to our own growth and discoveries. Man's search for God reaches far and wide from many sources. It is interesting that both Gilgamesh and Zeus had affairs, with Gilgamesh being two-thirds God and one-third man. Zeus had many affairs with earthly women. Yet beyond all of that, there was the miraculous connection with both nature here on earth and the unexplainable to consider. And all of this leads to the Olympian path, our desire for discovery and to know that there is something more. And so there is us, the torchbearers. May the gods be with us. All possibilities are open to us. Let us feature two universal nutrients. So what I would like to present tonight is the latest research on two very powerful nutrients, what I feel is exciting about them. And there are others that we'll address at some other point. But what's exciting about these is that they affect the whole universe contained within the human body, the physical human body. And I think when you address the basics, that meaning cellular vitality, I firmly believe that it has a positive effect on virtually every condition we might deal with. So there's some new research, and I've been touting this for quite some time on IP6. I recently talked and counseled with two cancer patients this week, and both were very enthusiastic. In fact, what's interesting is they belong to a holistic nutrition group, an integrative nutrition group concerning the disease, and they never heard of it. So once again, as I have discovered, possibly one of the most powerful nutrients to fight various diseases is still not out there in terms of information like it should be. So recent research, and this is recent research on inositol hexylphosphate focuses on its role in cancer and metabolic diseases and viral reactions, with studies showing its potential as an antioxidant and its ability to inhibit tumor growth through various mechanisms. Studies have shown IP6 can inhibit tumor growth and metastasis with anti-angiogenic effects and induction of apoptosis, which means cellular death. Potential new treatment research indicates that IP6 may be a novel adjunct treatment for pancreatic cancer by reducing cellular growth and increasing apoptosis. Diabetic management. New research investigates its role managing diabetes by regulating insulin secretion and reducing cellular damage as well as vascular. We feel it is vital for everyone to consider adding IP6 to their holistic health program. That is the latest research on IP6.
Is there a recommended dosage for people who want to experiment with it?
There is no recommended dosage, but there is no specific recommended dosage except to say that it should be taken on an empty stomach, and probably I prefer Nature's Way. There's another company called IP6 Gold, which is also very reputable. I just happen to lean toward Nature's Way because they originally had the patent on it. It was a patent. So I would say read the label, and then follow your own divine intuition as far as dosage. I take 1 teaspoon a day of the powder. I prefer the powder, but capsules are fine. And I recommend Nature's Way. But again, IP6 Gold is also a very reputable company. But this research should be powerfully considered. And God only knows lives that can be extended and possibly saved by this nutrient. I remember one gentleman, this is going back maybe 20 years ago, was diagnosed with the disease and on his own changed his diet completely to beans, vegetables. He bottled everything himself. He purchased raw beans rather, and utilized IP6. His disease was totally obliterated, and he was perfectly healthy, at least at that time. Another experiment, which was done twice, was on rats who were induced with a chemical that produced liver tumors, which could actually be seen on their bodies. They treated the water with IP6. The tumors were totally obliterated. A few months later, they repeated the study, same result. So here we are, a nutrient which is also effective in terms of lowering blood sugar and stimulating T cell response. And there's one more aspect of it, which I studied years ago. It seems to change the signal in certain abhorrent cells back to normal without affecting normal cells. Now, let me be very bold. You're not going to hear this in too many places. You're not going to hear this even from some of your holistic physicians. And I'd be also have submitted this information to a online group called beatcancer.org, and they have the hosts are all cancer victims. They never heard of it. In fact, they went on the website and researched it while I was online with them. And their only reaction was, this is very interesting. And they're reading it while I'm there. Astonishing, absolutely astonishing that IP6 continues to remain more or less under the radar. I had one of my physicians recently say to me, there is one university, I think it's in Maryland, but I'm not sure, that is conducting a study. But it's taken them almost 40 years. So, you know what? If one life, yes.
Did it take
Hello?
40 years or 4 years?
40 years.
Wow.
40 years. The doctor who pioneered it, he has 2 books out. As doctor, I believe his last name is Shimudin. But you can find the books online. They're not all that extensive to read. They get right to the point. So I can only hope, and I will continue for the rest of my life. There's no one absolute cure for metastatic diseases, but this is a powerful nutrient that should be on everyone's list as a preventive and as a treatment. And this, again, with physicians, we know that, well, everyone is different. and there's some that may be on top of this information. There may be some that aren't. But the first words out of my mouth, should I have to be involved with an integrative oncologist, would be, do you know anything about IP6? So that's the first nutrient, the key nutrient I want to introduce to our listeners today. Someone out there, there's someone out there that will benefit by using this nutrient. Maybe extend their lives, reduce their blood sugar, reduce inflammation, improve mitochondria and cellular activity, and should be aware of this nutrient. And that is the bottom line. So if I sound adamant and strong on this issue, it's because I know a little bit of what I'm talking about concerning the research of this substance. IP6, inositol hexophosphate. You can get it online in any form you choose. So please, all listeners who are interested in integrative health, please consider this nutrient.
I have my diabetes tray. I haven't tried the IP6 yet, but I'm taking a lot of different things in addition to the metformin that they have prescribed for me. I'm taking B12, I'm taking CoQ10, I'm taking alpha lipoic acid, I'm taking berberine and bitter melon and a few other ones I'm taking.
Well, bitter melon has been shown some very positive effects. And also the fact that you're taking CoQ10. And this is the point I want to drive home when we talk about the universal body. People, if you're suffering from glaucoma, let's say, or rheumatoid arthritis, or any of the various diseases we know can confront us, Parkinson's disease and other conditions, most physicians are probably not going to stop and tell you, are you continuing overall cellular energy and vitality? So when you say you're taking CoQ10, that's a good thing, because cellular vitality and overall good health can affect every aspect of the body and every aspect of fighting disease. And that's why I'm talking tonight about the universal body, because I think we have nutrients out there that can enhance the health and vitality of the universal body. And then, of course, we have the target nutrients. And I don't mean by any means intend to leave those out, the target antioxidants. But there's universal nutrients out there, and that's what I call them, like IP6, like modified citrus pectin, which we'll also get into in a minute, like CoQ10, like alpha lipoic acid, that can have an amazing effect because you're enhancing your cellular health. And your cellular health can be of great value in every aspect of the body and anything that might attack our well-being. So when we think about our health, all right, what can we do now? I'm on a nutritional program. I'm taking all the essential antioxidants. Is there anything? I think we should always put a focus on overall cellular health to the best we can. And we know that there's nutrients out there that can vitalize the cellular health. So I think it's very exciting, in my opinion, because you're not going to hear this from too many out there. And that's not being boastful on my part. That's based on my 30 years of research. You're just not going to hear it. You're not going to hear it. If you go to an eye doctor, he's going to treat you with the standard treatment for glaucoma, whether it be wet or dry. If you go to a rheumatologist, they're going to, and I've been to one recently, they're going to recommend all the blood tests and, if necessary, all of the drugs available. And yes, some will be, their consciousness will be open to antioxidants, but they're not going to prioritize some of the information, certainly on antioxidants, and none of them may have the knowledge that I'm sharing with you tonight. So for me, it's so vital. It's so vital. Someone out there can be healthier and their lives can be saved by some of the nutrients we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in supplementation, and I'm very experimental, and I give things plenty of time to see if they work or they don't work. And then even if I'm convinced that it's working, I'll stop taking it for a while, see if there's any difference. And if it doesn't seem to be working, I'll stop taking it for a little while to see if there's any difference. Because sometimes there is.
Mhm. Well, I think that's the importance of us as torchbearers, as you so eloquently put it. I think that we're doing research, quite frankly, and I have a wonderful primary care doctor, great guy, really up on holistic treatment as much as he can be. And I've introduced him, I think, 2 or 3 years ago to IP6. And I did that with the big volume that the Life Extension Institute used to make available. And they had a piece on IP6, and I gave him the whole book. I said, here, take this. I gifted him with it. And next time I saw him, I marked the page. Next time I saw him, he said, he said, I was reading about that. He said, this is very interesting. He said, I think I'm going to recommend it to my cancer patients. And, I was very both humbled and excited. I have a physician that is open to this research. You know what I've discovered, and I'd like to ask you this question.
Sure.
It seems to me that even qualified physicians who really have an interest in people, and he does, he's a wonderful guy, but they don't have much time for reading. It seems to me they don't really have much time for research. And I get that impression. Have you gotten that impression as well, or am I maybe misjudging that environment?
Well, every physician's different, and we can't know what's in their minds or anything. But I've had the experience too that physicians I've had in the past are not receptive to dietary and lifestyle approaches to health and wellness, or they'll really minimize it. Even my doctor, who's been pretty open about things, didn't believe that I can get my blood sugar down to a particular range. And I did it by diet and exercise and meditation and so on and so forth. So she suggested alpha lipoic acid, which I wasn't taking before also. And that's been helpful.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
seems that especially now the way things are with medicine, the medical profession, they prescribe medications, and that's pretty much it. Some of them will not even explain to you what possible side effects you may have with the medications. You have to research that yourself. And I've had medications that were prescribed for me that I researched, and the side effects were horrible. And one medication I didn't get a chance to research because I was very busy that week. So I started taking it. I had
Mhm.
every single rare result, the rare um, reaction, except coma and death. so
Oh my God.
so I stopped those. I called
Oh
the
my,
doctor and I called the pharmacy and said, I'm not taking this anymore.
well, good for you, and I'm pleased that you did your research. And this is where the iPhone and the internet can be invaluable, because even AI, I noticed they offer you different explanations and different possibilities, and I've noticed that they're pretty accurate for the most part. If I type in a certain nutrient, they seem pretty accurate, and the information it provides you with pretty much parallels with what you've studied on a personal basis. So,
Mhm.
in all honesty, though I hate to admit it, being an old pioneer that I am, they do provide some valuable information. And at the end of the day, your divine intuition will be the judge on which way to go. And as you pointed out, Sometimes we go a certain direction, but doesn't seem like it's offering much improvement. We stop and we look for something that might be more valuable. So, I am very thankful to the universe that is providing us with these open channels of information and experience.
Yes, that we have plenty of information. I relate everything to mythology. Everything I'm going through, my spirituality is very mythical, and where we are with things, especially with nutrition and health, is the dragon Ladon. In Greek mythology, the dragon Ladon guarded the golden apples of the Hesperides that
Mhm.
Hercules had been sent to fetch, and each
Yes,
dragon head could speak, and they weren't all speaking the same thing. They were each speaking something different. So you're mesmerized by all these different voices. And that's how it is when you're trying to research something like nutrition or health um, and wellness categories. It's you hear a lot of voices, all of them seemingly qualified, all of them having been published in periodicals for the field, and all of them are different. They're telling you to do different things that are contradictory. So without that training, and even the experts can't agree, how can you make an informed decision? So
right.
that's part of the challenge, but you have to do it. What other choice do you have? You have to do the research. You have to hear the experiences of others, both positive, negative, and then make a decision as to whether this is something that you'd like to try for yourself. And as you said in the beginning of this program, and we try to reinforce with each and every program, we're not physicians. This is part of our being alive and trying to make the best decisions and the fullest decisions possible. So we experiment. Not everyone's going to feel comfortable doing that, but we offer it as we offer it to each other. As this is what we're doing. Hopefully, you learn something from it, either what to do, what not to do, or what to look into some more. And that's the spirit in which it's offered. We're not recommending anything. It's like this is what we're trying, and this is what we're doing.
Absolutely. As researchers, that's what we're doing. We're not physicians. We're not prescribing anything. This is for information purposes only, as they say. But I, as a single individual, a singular mind, strongly recommend some of the nutrients and modalities, that I've researched over the years, only because the passion for what I do is there, and it's been there. Actually, there's been some kind of calling since I was approximately 17 years old. I remember waking up on a Saturday morning while my wife was still sleeping. I would make myself some French toast or
Mm.
pancakes, and I would put on a program called, I believe it was Today for Your Health or something like that, and Dr. Carlton Fredericks.
I remember Dr.
Uh, remember him?
Hmm.
Uh, he was hosting the program, and it had me completely fascinated. How he talked about natural substances, what they can do, and how our government, unfortunately, hadn't been at that time capitalizing on the potential of some of these nutrients, and I was fascinated. So at the age of 17, I became enamored with, can we heal or slow down and prevent disease with some of the natural foods and substances that are available to us. And of course, that was back in the early 70s. Now we have so much available to us that sometimes it's mind-boggling. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we have the ability to get on the internet and research. See, okay, let's see. Well, there's some contradictory information here. There's some very positive information. How should I proceed? And there's been news lately. There's been news about nutrients one's called soursop. You may have heard about this, which is also known as graviola. That has been in the news consistently. up until about a month ago. That's a powerful cancer fighter, powerful immune enhancer. Now they're talking about something which I, quite frankly, am a little suspicious of, called methylene blue, which is actually an artificial dye-like nutrient, which supposedly researchers are claiming can fight cancer. I would be wary of that. Again, the God speaking through me says that you probably should leave alone. So these two nutrients have been in the news quite a lot lately. I think there may be something to graviola, but I would not try to play with methylene blue. I don't trust anything like that at this point when it comes to enhancing the health. But it shows you again how much we're exposed to out there. And you'll have, retailers and what have you, and supposed researchers tell you the great potential in some of this stuff. But the soursop,
Methylene blue.
yes.
And I was
All right.
kind of wary of it. It's like with the colloidal silver, even though I know some people who claim to have had good experiences with colloidal silver, for what my research shows me, there's a lot of dangers. You could turn blue. And with the methylene blue, also, I saw a few reports and it looked interesting, but nothing sparked in me a desire to try it. I figured I'd wait to get more research on it.
Absolutely, and there you go again. There's where your divine mind comes in, and we're all it's the indwelling Christ, if you will, the indwelling spirit within that tells you what you should be doing or maybe not be doing. So that's all very important. There's another substance out there which is getting a lot of attention. It's called fenbendazole and ivermectin. These two substances have been used for, I think, decades as dewormers
Yes.
in animals. And I guess you've heard of that.
Yes, I've heard of that. There
And
too. I have no desire to try it.
yeah, you have testimonies on the internet that are absolutely swearing by this.
Yes.
Number one, you have to be, if you're going to try it, you have to be sure you're getting the real thing. There's some pills being sold out there that are not really pure ivermectin or fenbendazole the way you need it to be. Secondly, they're not talking about too much. There is a danger, no matter, even when you use it in small doses, you need to monitor your liver enzymes. It can be, the story is, it can be damaging to the liver. So, and yet you'll see testimony after testimony. And I've read so many that say cancer has been abolished completely from their bodies. They were at stage 3, they were at stage 4, et cetera, et cetera. There's a guy by the name of Joe Tippins who pioneered this whole thing, who continues to claim that he had the cancer in his lungs, other areas of the body, and was totally cured with a program of ivermectin and fenbendazole. Now, that may be true, but he also received some conventional therapy before he tried these substances. So you're not really sure whether it was the conventional therapy, I don't know exactly what he received, or the fenbendazole or ivermectin itself. So it's a matter of being cautious. IP6, absolutely, totally committed to it because it's a totally natural, and all the evidence is really impressive, even from very conventional researchers. Universities and laboratories are saying that there's great possibilities of healing with IP6. What I like about it, besides everything else it does, is it seems to change the signal of the cells to react normally, change them back to a normal environment. I saw the pictures myself of the rats that were induced with chemicals that produced liver tumors, and how they, like the same rats, how they appeared after being treated with IP6. And I saw this of all places. Now, I'm going back over 20 years. I was watching, of all things, a Christian program.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I learned about it. And the host of the Christian program had become very interested in holistic therapy. And he discovered IP6, and he showed the laboratory, showed the mice, showed everything was effective, and exactly how the effectiveness, was produced and what the results were. That's how I first discovered it. And then doing my own following research, there's no doubt about it, no doubt in my mind, it can extend lives. And it's virtually effective against particularly breast cancer, colon cancer, seems to be effective against pancreatic cancer, bladder cancer, you name it. So I highly recommend that everyone do the research. Don't take my word for anything. I just spoke to a former neighbor over the weekend. We sat on a bench outside my building here. Her husband, they just discovered a small cancerous tumor on his lung, on his face. I sent her the results, and she said, "I'm only sorry," she said, "that I didn't hear about this stuff sooner." It's also effective against breast cancer, by the way. It's been shown to be very effective. It seems to be very powerful against hormone-driven cancers. So having said all that, I encourage everyone, do your research. Because we know that chemotherapy, yes, it can kill a solid tumor. It can in the short run. In the long run, it also destroys your immune system. Even the new immunotherapy drugs that they have out now, and it took them how many years to discover that certain drugs can stimulate your own immune system to fight cancer. Here's the irony. There's natural substances out there on the shelves right now that can do the same thing, that can stimulate T-cell response. Maitake mushroom, reishi mushroom are two. But it took them all of these years, and still these drugs, while they're very proud of the progress they're making, and they are, but you have to reduce the side effects. The side effects have to be reduced. There has to be a way, because if these treatments, as effective as they may be, if the side effects are powerful enough to kill you before the disease, what are we talking about here?
That's
You
very
know,
true.
so
The commercials for a lot of drugs, if you listen to the side effects, which you have to list, the side effects sound worse than the initial condition that you would take medicines for.
you're absolutely right, and it's absolutely the truth. So, I often ask, not that they can't help, there's some help to be available, but how much are they really helping? If their universal body, as we know it, which we're trying to treat, in the end, is paying a very, very dear price. So, it's something I take very seriously, and it breaks my heart to see some individuals are suffering. But if I can go on for a minute to a substance that also shows a lot of promise, and that's modified citrus pectin. And the benefits of that, it's a dietary supplement that research has shown to be very beneficial in a number of areas. It appears to act as a natural chelator, helping to safely bind and remove toxic heavy metals such as lead, mercury, arsenic, and cadmium from the body without depleting essential minerals. As far as cancer support, research indicates that modified citrus pectin may help slow the progression of certain cancers, including prostate, breast, colon, and ovarian cancers.
Wow.
It appears to work by inhibiting something called galactin-3, a protein involved in tumor growth and metastasis, and may enhance the effectiveness of some chemotherapy and radiation treatments. Moving on with that, Cardiovascular health studies have suggested that modified citrus pectin may protect against heart disease by reducing inflammation and fibrosis in the heart and blood vessels. It may also help to manage cholesterol levels. The immune system may support the immune function by activating natural killer cells. Here we are again, so very important. And B cell activity. It also has anti-inflammatory properties. We consider these universal nutrients in that they contribute to the well-being of the entire body. Stimulating the mitochondria is in that mix, CoQ10 and alpha lipoic acid. They can also be considered along with modified citrus pectin and IP6. So what we're talking here, in my opinion, we're talking about universal antioxidants, universal disease fighters that just don't target one specific disease, but and actually enhance the body to fight other diseases as well. Because when your blood flow is good, your cardiovascular system is good, and your cells are experiencing their own vitality, anything great is liable to happen, no matter what disease we may be fighting. So whether we're talking about fibrosis in the vascular system, or we're talking about diabetes, anything, these two nutrients may be of invaluable health. That's what I wanted to cover today, this evening, very powerfully. I'm not mincing any words here because I'm not here for that. I personally am not here for that. This is real nutrition that can work.
And I'm looking forward to experimenting with both of these. I'm going to be updating my diabetes medications and nutrients very soon. So I'm going to try one or both of those next.
Now, getting down to the basics of that, how have you been doing with the program you've been on to this point? Have you seen any changes in your own challenges that you've been facing for the better?
Well, the challenge is still there because I have the Parkinson's as well as the diabetes and the spinal problems. I took a little bit of time off because my body had gotten very worn and tired. So I started exercising fully again yesterday. So I'm feeling great and I'm looking forward to exercising once our program's finished. My wife and I usually watch TV before going to bed. So while the TV is on, I'll be exercising. And today is abdominals day. So I'm looking forward to doing abs both with and without weights. So a new cycle has begun. With the diabetes, I was eating keto-friendly grains, and that seemed not to spike my sugar, but it started spiking it recently. And that's happened before with like peanut butter and other things that seem to be working for a while, and then one day they just don't work. So that happened with the keto-friendly cereals that I was experimenting with. So it heightened the blood by like 10 points or so, which isn't that bad, but now I need to get it back down to where it was on a daily basis. So that's the challenge there. And I'm researching and looking for things to try next. So of course, the two nutrients that you spoke of today, I want to try those next. They both sound very promising. And the items you introduced that you weren't too eager to try yet, or I'm not eager to try them yet either, because I've researched those on my own as well. And so I'm passing on ivermectin. I'm passing on the blue uh, one also.
I agree with you on that. And that's why I wanted to mention those today. There's been a lot of PR as far as ivermectin and fenbendazole, and a lot of it sounds increasingly effective. But I'm a little suspicious of it because, first of all, to get the real thing, there are still some states that you need a prescription, Secondly, if you order it online, you really don't know, first of all, if you're getting the real article.
Right.
So it may very well be, but I have a theory. It's these two substances are based on the concept that they eradicate parasites from the body, and parasites seem to be involved in terms of certain researchers with producing cancer. So doing my own research, I've come to the conclusion, well, couldn't turmeric and garlic and perhaps ginger, oil of oregano, couldn't these basically perform the same tasks? So I did a little research and I came to find out, partially at least, that garlic and turmeric can fight parasites. So again, what I did basically was look for an alternative that's available to us now that has virtually no side effects. So, and garlic and turmeric stood out as parasite fighters, along with ginger, oil of oregano, and zinc, and it's one that's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, those three can fight parasites on a natural level. So before we dive into the unknown in terms of fenbendazole and ivermectin, let's try the supplements that are available to us now. And I would say those are two: garlic and
Turmeric.
oil of oregano, and see how these work. I believe they can fight a parasitic environment. So again, this is what the Olympian path is all about, in my opinion. Looking that other way, looking for alternative, seeking alternate knowledge. Okay, this drug can do this. Are there any natural substances that may have the same effect? So that's part, to me, of what Olympian vision is all about. And so when you look to the gods and everything they've experienced, both here on the earth plane and in the heavenlies, they opened up the path to this kind of thinking. So I'm loving it because I know there's validity to it.
Right. And facing life's challenges and using creativity to co-create a better world for ourselves, for those we love, and for the greater human community and the greater planetary community are all part of the Herculean path or the Olympian path as well. So I too view my dietary choices and my dietary adventures and my exercise adventures as part of my spiritual path as well.
Well, and I think that I left one nutrient out, by the way, olive leaf extract. And it's curious that some of these substances, of course, are connected to the Western civilizations like Greece and Rome, who use those ancient Western civilizations who use these nutrients, consistently. And olive leaf extract has also shown some amazing effects, to say the very least, that some may want to look into in terms of healthy cellular growth, amongst other things. So you know what? This is exciting. This is exciting. I'm never without enthusiasm when it comes to the path that you have described so eloquently in terms of, all right, okay, I'm in a position for research as much as possible. What else can I look at? And this is what the journey of research is all about. This is what the Olympian path is all about. And I think even when it comes to the foundation of all of this, which was Greek mythology, the Greek myths opened the doors to every type of experience that we may confront here on, excuse me, here on earth. And that includes the influence of Christianity. To me, my own personal opinion is Christianity or Greek mythology was a foundation for the civilizations that came later, or were even were in existence at that time, especially some of the Judeo-Christians, Judeo practices.
Mhm.
Everything came from the myths of the Greeks and how they tried to explain the world around us and what we may confront, both good experience and negative experience, but also may lie out there in terms of a multidimensional viewpoint. And Greek mythology gave us all of that. It's really exciting when you think about it.
Oh, it is very exciting, and I'm very theosophical in my outlook. You know, that basically all religions contain truth, and even though I'm not Greek Orthodox or Christian for that matter, a lot of my family and friends are. So I have no beef against Christianity or any of the Abrahamic religions.
Now, a question I would like to have propose, if I may, and you
Sure.
might want to educate us for. Tell us about Kronos. Am I correct here?
Kronos, yeah, Kronos or Saturn, as he was known to the Romans, is a generation of gods. The Titanic age, he existed, and he was the king of the Titans, which were the pre-Olympian generation of gods, and the post primeval generation of gods, which came after the abstract, I guess, for lack of a better word, generation of gods. So he was their king, and he was said to be a very jealous god, and he didn't want his power threatened, so he swallowed his children. And he
Right.
was escaped being swallowed, and he was raised in Crete in a cave by Rhea, his mother, who sent some guardians called the Dactyls to protect him. And he drank milk from the udders of Amalthea, who was an immortal goat, and her horn became the cornucopia later on, or the horn of plenty. And Kronos's wife gave him a stone to swallow instead of Zeus, and that's how she was able to raise Zeus separately. And then when Zeus became old enough, he joined the Titans and became a cupbearer to the king and queen. And from there, he gave him an emetic to drink, and he vomited forth his children who had grown up inside of him, and then they revolted against him. And eventually, after a 10-year war, they won. He's said to be the same as the God of the Old Testament by way of the Gnostics. The Gnostics believed that this reality and matter were evil, and they called the demiurge or the creator god Yaldabaoth and said he was a false god. And there was a Pelasgian
I see.
that Ophion, the snake, was the same as Yaldabaoth in terms of what he did. He was also danced into creation, and he believed he was the one true God, and he created a creation and claimed to be the only God, and so on and so forth. For me, and for many other people, Kronos is the God of the last stage in life, and scheduling becomes very important, managing time, realizing how the value of time, and uh, all of the things that go along with using time and spending time and appreciating time and things like that come into play. So I like the influence of Kronos in this end part of my life, because it helps me. I appreciate time a lot. I know the time is limited. I know we don't have vast quantities of it. Whatever's before me is less than what came behind me. So I appreciate doing things that I love, being with people that I love, talking with people that I love, and those become very precious to me. So I appreciate the gifts of Kronos. And I guess in a few minutes, that's what I could share.
Well, that's exciting, and you certainly educated me to a great extent on what Chronos was all about. Again, it's those mythical events that open up pathways to new areas of consciousness, in my opinion, and we can apply those here in the third dimension in our modern day, well, in terms of what we might have to do and achieve to move our own lives forward. And you made a good point. What I struggle with most this stage of my life, and I'm accepting it, I found the more I study mythology, the more I study the great Greek history and everything good. And I'm no expert on all the gods. I don't have the extensive knowledge that you do. I continue to learn, which is okay too.
Well, I
But
continue
what
to learn too. I like Socrates, I realize the vast extent of my own ignorance. So I'm always learning
yeah.
as well.
Well, that's about it here. But I'll tell you what I have learned, and maybe you can comment on this. And for our audience who are listening, they might learn something along the way here too. Now that I'm 73, and I shared this with my physician today, as a matter of fact, it seems to me that growing up, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, I never contemplated the reality. And maybe there's something in mythology in this. And some of our great philosophers, I'm sure, that I'm not discussing, and I have no time to discuss tonight. Nobody prepares you for what may happen or how you may feel from the spiritual and psychological standpoint if you're the only one left. If most of your friends have left, most of your family have left, as some of you may know, and I know you know, I lost 5
Yes.
people, including my precious dog, in the span of 3.5, maybe 4 years, a little less than that. That includes my very talented brother, my mother, my father, 2 aunts, and my dog last year. And it's suddenly, with some of my sadder moments, I realized I lived alone at one time when I was divorced in 1981. I lived alone. But once I was past the regret of my divorce, I did quite well. In fact, I wasn't very spiritual at that time. My favorite group was the Doors. And when it came to the Doors and Jim Morrison, there was no in between. You either liked them or you hated them. Even though they seemed like hippies, they weren't really for the hippie movement. They were mostly, Jim Morrison was more or less an existentialist, if there ever was one. And so I read the great existentialists like Sartre and Camus. So I was not a believer after my divorce. And I was stronger then. I was strong. But what I missed out on was acknowledging the fact that there are other dimensions beside this. And one day I said to myself, I never really gave universal existence, or God, if you will, in my case, a real chance in my life. I never really did. So I made an intellectual effort, if you will, to seek the creative force, which now we know in unity thought and new thought. And I thank the universe for new thought. They opened up my eyes to the fact that we don't need a lot of rules and regulations. We just need to remind ourselves each and every day that there's a universal essence within us. And many gods may speak through that essence. we know in paganism, they speak through the pagan thought, because that beautiful essence of universal intelligence is in all things, and which is a great revelation. And we could only get this knowledge from the study of new thought, which is really old thought, which fascinates me. There's nothing new about it. So that's what led me back to the idea that there's a source, there's a creative source out there with many branches,
Right.
with many gods, many beliefs, many rituals and traditions. So that's my story. And I'm so happy that I traveled that journey, because I went from one to the other, and I learned so much that way. So I don't feel I wasted any time. In
No, of
fact,
course not. And you're
I
very
probably
generous in
learned.
sharing your journey, both your nutritional journeys, your health journey, your spiritual journey, your journey with mythology. And that's one of the reasons why I like theosophy, because in theosophy, you have like Kuan Yin and Hercules and Jesus all working together, even though they're from different pantheons and different cultures, for the spiritual growth of humanity. And they all care for and love humanity. They're not condemning humanity or consigning humanity to fiery hells and things like that. They're kind of like humanity's elder brothers and sisters. So I found that um, I'm not concerned about judgment. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I feel like I'm already there, and I'm here, and I try to do what the divine force within me would be doing, uh, even if I wasn't here. So I become part of the job that the divine is doing here on earth, through the lens of whatever gods I resonate with.
And that's really exciting, because that validates what this experience here in the third dimension is really all about. And I consider myself, I refer to Christianity only as my example. I'm open to all religions. I still study with Astara, which I know you did yourself.
Yes, yes. The
And
Siren in need never
modern,
goes slow.
yeah, exactly. And it's a modern mystery school. And that's pretty much what they teach. That, Buddhism, Hinduism, whether you're a Muslim, the divine source is with us, and all are welcome to study Astara. And there's quite a bit there to study. And so that aligns itself with what you've just said. That divine spark is in all of us. I just wish before I die that more people would recognize what we're talking about now. It's the divine spark with many gods and many teachings and many seeking to walk that Olympian path.
And fortunately, we live in a time when our conversations can be recorded and posted and shared with other people who, if they're drawn to the topic, and check it out and listen to the ideas. And just like with the vitamins and the dietary practices and exercise, we're not trying to sell any particular method. We're just sharing what we found on our journeys with each other, and learning from each other, and wishing each other well on one's individual journeys. And because in the end, we're all individuals. We came here by ourselves, we'll be leaving by ourselves, and we spend chunks of our existence here by ourselves, as you pointed out.
And I also believe in the end, when our time comes for our next journey, our next transition, we're all going to be part of the same field of existence. I do believe there's something to the concept that the Creator is a field of all possibilities, as Deepak Chopra had said many times. It's a field of all possibilities and all intellects. And at the end, I think we return to that field, and there will be a togetherness that I think will bring us great joy.
And that sounds like paradise to me, as good a definition as any. How can people find you, Michael? How can they find your poetry? How can they tap into your ministry? I know you have a prayer ministry and a health ministry. How can people find you and learn about these things and join you on your adventures?
They can write to me at 135 Hazel Street, apartment 70 in Clifton, New Jersey. The zip is 07011. I believe in prana. I believe in light work. I'm doing that every day. I have a prayer list, and I'm ready to address the specific prayer needs if they would write to me. Writing is very important. I would prefer they write to me as opposed to typing, and I will lay hands on their issue and their names, whatever the case might be. I will pray for them and send them light. Astera also teaches that prana can be sent in distance healing. Distance healing is very effective and can be very effective. So write to me, and I also have a book of poetry that covers all metaphysical and spiritual topics, as well as it's $10 a copy to the same address. And I believe that, and I'm proud to say that it will open up channels of perhaps new revelations.
And this month on UFO Entity Enigma, we're dealing with the topic of reality, which you had mentioned. And we're going to be exploring, what is this life? Is it a simulation, as some people say? Is it a game or an entertainment, as other people say? Is it a rehab facility? Is it a school? Is it a prison? What is this life all about? What are we doing here? And your thoughts would be very welcome on that, my friend.
Well, and when will that program be?
That's on the UFO Entity Enigma. I sent you an email. It's on
Okay, thank you so much.
the third Sunday in the month.
Very good. Well, I'll be looking forward to that.
Thank you again for everything. I always look forward to our conversations. I wish we had met a decade or so earlier. We'd be having even more of these conversations in our history, but I think we're doing good in the amount of discussions that we do. And I wish we lived closer so we could get together for a cup of coffee every now and then. But we have this, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you. You've been a blessing to all of us. Thank you so much.
And you as well. And thanks to all who are tuning in. Until next time, this is us wishing you joyous journeys and amazing adventures. Good night, everybody.
Good night.